what's up?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program.
The Airtime Podcast is presented by Van Shoes since 1966. 66!
There's nothing fake about it. Have something to believe in and be yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Darrah Reid is on the podcast today, one of my favorite female snowboarders for multiple reasons. They could make a Hollywood movie on Darrah's persistence because shit, it's bar none. Blows her knees 4 times and still is like, nah, I'm coming back. If you've strapped into a board, without a doubt, you know what it's like to have to pay your dues to get shit done on a board and learn new tricks, and Darrah has paid her dues year in and year out. A true boarder in every aspect. Darrah recently just picked up a pro model on Dinosaurs Will Die. Shoutouts to Jeff and Sean. And I'm kind of hoping to see the Switchback 5 off a step down. I'm just throwing that out there. You got a good one. There's a lot of good step downs, and I just know that she could lace it. And I just think that, we're all deserving to see Darrah go full ham, Switchback 5 off of form step down. Let's see it. 2021, the year of Darrah. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Enjoy this amazing episode with one of my good friends and one of the hardest working professional boarders there is, Darrah Reid. All right, a word from our sponsor and then straight to the show. Big shout outs to Vans for supporting the podcast. Obviously, without a doubt, the best snowboard boots, no questions. The boot I'm going to talk about today is the High Country and Hellbound Sam Taxwood. It's the perfect boot if you're looking for something that's all mountain, backcountry focused. Obviously, Taxwood being a rail rider as well, you can do whatever you want in this boot. You got the zipper, so it encloses all the laces so nothing's getting wet. This boot's gonna keep your foot dry all day, and it's gonna supply the support you need. It's definitely a stiffer boot, but if that's what you're looking for, because you want to be able to hold on when you're going 1,000 miles an hour and be as badass as Sam Taxwood, this is the boot for you. Taxwood rips, you know what I mean? He is thrashing the snowboard. He's not like going all like, oh, I'm gonna go slow. He is ripping at all times, and we love it. The High Country and Hellbound Sam Taxwood boot in gray and black. You will not be disappointed. Check it out at any fine snowboard shop near you or on vans.com or vans.ca. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We have the most beautiful, incredible, sweet, badass, long time friend of mine, Darrah Reid, on the podcast.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
I'm doing okay, The fires in Victoria, because I live there for some reason right now, until winter, have dissipated, and it's sunny, so I can't complain. What about you?
Yeah, the smoke cleared here. It's raining, but that's okay. I'm not in Victoria, so can't complain.
Well, where are you?
I'm in Whistler.
The best place in the world.
Yeah. I'm in my house, and this is the first lease I've ever signed. I just moved into this house. My very first lease.
Your first lease, and how old are you? Like 26, 25?
Yeah, like something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Nice. Your first sign.
Yeah, I'm really growing up, so.
You've lived in some unique situations. You've lived in a van. You've done everything.
I feel like I've been bouncing around for several years, and I really needed to be grounded for a little bit, and it feels good.
Yeah, to not have a house on wheels.
Yeah, exactly. It's good.
It's a house that's attached to the ground, therefore it's grounded.
It's yeah, that's exactly what I meant by grounded. Yeah, it is not on wheels. It doesn't move.
So who do you live
hopefully. With? I live with Matt Cochran and Tommy Van, and they are the sickest roommates. They're great. Couple of angels.
Both good boarders too. Tommy, incredible boarder.
Yeah, they're sick.
Have you seen the new SRD movie that came out today?
Not yet. I'm planning on watching it tonight. I'm excited.
Maybe after we're done this episode, we can just continue on this call and both watch the movie, because I have nobody to watch it with, and I'm going to watch it after this.
Yeah, let's do it. That'd be cute.
Yeah, it'd be incredible. So, what have you done this summer? What's your schedule been looking like these days?
It's been a weird summer for sure. My schedule's been a little hectic, but I've been trying to work a lot and save some money. And then also I bought my first mountain bike ever this summer, and so I've been trying to make time for that and do that.
Mountain biking.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody is getting into mountain biking. I mean, it's not that I have any stigma around it or anything. I don't know. I've always been that I like using a bicycle to, move around. I've just never enjoyed it that much where I want to spend $10,000 on a bike.
Jody, you gotta get into mountain biking. It's crazy. I mean, I'm exploring this whole new side of Whistler that I've never seen before, and I've lived here forever. I think you would really like it. I wasn't sure about it at first. I was very unsure, and then now that summer is kind of almost over and I've been doing it all summer, I'm very sure that I love it. It feels like 15 years ago when I was first starting to snowboard, and you'd go with your friends to little tiny cliffs, and your friends would be like, okay, you got it, and that's how mountain biking feels right now. You go to these tiny little rock things and your friends are like, yeah, you're good. And you're like, oh God, I don't know. And then, yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, except for when you're dropping the little cliff with your buddies when you're 15. A, you're 15.
Yeah.
B, it's snow everywhere. The way I look at mountain biking is rocks that don't move, trees that don't move, roots, and the only clear zone is the path, the bike path.
Yeah.
Everything else is a hazard. And that bike path, for the most part, seems to be pretty skinny to me.
It's precise.
I already have my one sport that I really want to go for it at, and I think if I got into mountain biking, like you said, I think I might really like it. And I think that, as we all know, people who mountain bike, nobody who mountain bikes for a long time makes it out without unscathed. It's a pretty gnarly sport.
Yeah, I was hesitant for that reason too. It is fucking terrifying. There are the rocks and trees. It's crazy. But yeah, you get over that, I guess.
The way I compare it is, I was working at camp, COC, not too long ago, 2 years ago, and on the last day, I cracked my collarbone, and I went to the hospital, and there was a kid beside me, also at camp, but in mountain bike camp, and I'm like, what are you in for? He's like, I don't know, my wrists and my ankle really hurt, and we ended up getting put side by side in the hospital, and I hear his x-ray report comes back, and he has a broken wrist left, broken wrist right, broken foot, and he has to get his hand completely reconstructed because he has 15 small broken bones in his hand. And they're come back to me, they're hairline fracture, you're gonna be fine. He showed me the bail on his phone. He just went over the bars on a small cliff. But the way you taco on bikes is just so gnarly.
Yeah, it is. And rocks are not forgiving. Snow is a lot more forgiving, but it's worth it though.
You know what? I'm being way too negative. Mountain biking is rad. If you do it, good for you. It's great exercise.
It's such good exercise too. That's the best part about it, I think. It's so good for you. As long as you're not going over the handlebars.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? If you take this as a fun thing, I feel like I'm talking to you more like a concerned brother than some guy who's on a podcast. I'm like, Darrah, please take it easy. But
for some reason, everyone talks to me this way. Just be careful. Take it easy.
I mean, you and me, we've both had our fair share of good slams, over the year. We have the one that we won't bring up, and then we have the other one that I wanted to bring up, though, and I've had a similar incident, is when you did the front board. I think it was in a Peep Show movie, and then you went onto the road and got hit by the car. Remember that?
Yeah.
That one was fucking wild. That was some serious, you see that in skateboarding quite a bit, where they rip out onto the highway, but
But I was not ripping. so it wasn't
You were
that
kind
wild.
of ripping onto the highway and nobody was there to stop traffic.
Yeah, well, we were very young and we didn't know that spotters are required when your landing goes into a road. I mean, we were teenagers. Who knew? It was stupid.
No, it wasn't. It was sick. I mean, that spot's sick. That down rail with the little gap after. It's in Quebec, I think.
It was
It
Minnesota.
was in Toronto.
Minnesota.
What?
Yeah.
That's where that spot is. I've never even been to that spot. I always just thought it was in Quebec.
Yeah, we built a drop-in off of a garbage can. I remember it well, but it was a very long time ago. And I'm really on it with being a spotter now and will be forever.
Yeah, I'm a great spotter. I take
Yeah.
that
Take that position seriously.
If you don't know what a spotter is, it's like your duty is to stand on a road or anywhere that gets a lot of traffic that's unwanted, and then you tell people to slow down so the stunt person can ride away and get the clip, because we all know the ride away is half the clip. If your ride away kind of sucks or you have to fall because there's a car coming on the road because your spotter sucks, you're gonna have a bad fucking time right there.
Yeah, you gotta have a good spotter in your crew.
Well, you have to have a good crew to have a good spotter.
You definitely need to have a good crew. Essential.
So who's your crew these days? Who are you hanging out with? Who's Darrah? Like, if you're going out, you're going boarding these days, who are you going out with?
I usually just try to follow Derek around when I'm in Whistler. Derek's my crew.
Demo.
Derek's my crew whether he wants to be or not.
It seems like, I feel like Jake was that for a while until he moved to Vancouver. It was like you and Jake everywhere. I feel like you guys live together, and then, now Demo.
Yeah.
You just like to have the one homie to hang out with. The
all
one
I
guy
need.
friend,
I mean,
He gets put in the friend zone immediately, and then he knows his role. It's
I have
give
other-
Darrah life advice.
Yeah, Jake gives me some amazing life advice. Yeah, he definitely had that role for a while, and we did live in several different houses together. Yeah, and then he passed the torch on to Derek.
And Derek's doing an incredible job.
He really is.
And before both of those was maybe me for half a year, and then Jeeves was probably the original torch handle.
Yeah,
Like,
Jeeves,
he did
definitely. I was just with Jeeves a couple weeks ago, and I was saying, like, my life would have just gone such a different direction if it weren't for Jeeves. And Jake, and you, and Derek, but especially Jeeves. Like, I don't think I would have ever moved to Whistler if it weren't for him.
I mean, you grew up with Andrew riding for Forum. How did you guys meet? Like, how did that, because you guys were two people who snowboarded and went to Stony Mountain? Like,
Andrew and I went to high school together. I can't remember if we met first in high school or if we met first at Stony Mountain. But yeah, we went to school together.
and I mean, like that, you guys had a pretty solid crew there at the time, the Stony Mountain crew, Kevin Griffin, Andrew Jeeves, yourself, Jill, and then you guys slowly migrated over to our hill, Spring Hill Winter Park.
Yeah.
And then we became one super crew that was super not inclusive.
Weren't we?
We were all best friends, but looking back at it, like, we made 3 movies and you and Jill were in none of them.
Oh, yeah. No. That's true.
That's super harsh. I was thinking about that before this podcast. I was like, damn, like, I hope we cover kind of like how to get like females more involved in things. And I was like, oh, like, because I was always super inclusive. And I was like, was I? And I was like, wait, we literally filmed a movie. And Darrah was one of our best friends, and Jill. And we didn't how did we not have clips of you guys in like Gypsy Mob or Prairie Dogs, like our 2 first home movies we made?
I mean, we always went snowboarding with you guys, and I went on trips with you guys, and I think I even tried to hit a few spots, like maybe Crowbar. Is that what it's called? That little tiny? I think I tried to hit.
Oh, don't act like you forgot the name. Crowbar is the one and only handrail in Winnipeg.
It wasn't for lack of. I think you guys kind of included us. Like, I tried. I just wasn't quite there yet. When I moved to Whistler with all of you, that's when I felt not included. But in Winnipeg, I didn't. It wasn't so bad.
That's funny, because I almost felt the same way. I felt like I didn't feel included either. Like, when I first moved here, I mean, I had, our crew and stuff, but like, Jeeves was like, the top dog with all the hype around him. I just kind of felt like, lost in the mix sometimes. I remember that first year was pretty hard for me because I didn't really have any really good friends here yet.
Yeah.
And I was just you were one of my good friends, but I don't know how we weren't hanging out more. Because I remember in that time, I was just like hanging out with a big bunch of people I didn't know, who all turned out to be some of my best friends over the next few years afterwards. But I remember that first year of moving to the mountains and just being like, feeling alone.
Yeah, I felt that way too. I for sure felt that way. It was weird. I think it was because I kind of moved here with Andrew, and then he was such a hot shot. He just didn't have time for me anymore. And yeah, it was lonely, but...
Right? It was. I think, but you know what? If you asked him, it's like he's probably just focused on the hype that he was getting from, kind of blowing up, and then
he'll have a whole other version of that story. His perception will be totally
he had
different.
no idea that how you were feeling.
No.
Like, you think 16-year-old, or actually at the time, I think when he moved here, he was 15. 15-year-old Andrew was not thinking about your feelings and how you might feel not included.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm okay. We're all okay. We ended up fine.
But before you moved to Whistler and everything like that, like, we went to COC together, didn't we? Or yeah, you, me, and Anthony.
Yeah.
And like that was a pretty big game changer, I think, for all three of us. Anthony in his own way, I think he was just excited to be here, even though I kind of always knew Anthony wasn't going to follow snowboarding forever. But like for me, it was like as soon as I came here once, Andrew had already came to COC, Camp of Champions, and I was like completely like, holy shit, I want to move to these freaking mountains and be a part of this because it's dope. What was your experience like?
Yeah, same. I already knew that I wanted to move to Whistler, but Camp of Champions made that even more obvious. Like, this is where I wanted to be. I remember, Jody, when we went to Camp of Champions, you would not go bungee jumping with me because you were scared of hurting yourself bungee jumping and not being able to snowboard the next day.
That sounds like me. I was there to board.
Like, I took the boarding pretty seriously, very seriously, while I was there as a young teen. But still, like, when you get presented with an opportunity like bungee jumping, you gotta take it.
The way I got to go to COC was I would work up my grandma's flower stand and bag bags of soil. And it took me 2 summers to save up enough money to get to COC. And when I was there, I was like fucking I had my bandanas ironed because the bandana phase was coming in.
Oh, yeah.
I just got on Mission 6 in Academy. I had like my stickers all placed on my board really well. I wore all my kits for Jake and Anthony before I went to COC, and I was like, what kit should I wear? Like, I was stressing out. I was like, I'm going to COC, and this is going to be the best time of my whole life. And then, I don't know if you remember, it was fucking cloudy and raining the whole time.
I don't remember that at all, actually.
What? We had one sunny day. I have fond memories. I'm not complaining. That was like the best time ever. But Anthony was tripping out. He was like, we can't see anything. We were hiking the down rail in the fog with like Sean Black, Zach Aller, who else was at camp? That's Callie Vanuler was at camp. You met some pretty big dogs there, because I remember we had a Mary France Roy on the podcast not too long ago, about 4 episodes ago, and she even shouts you out being one of her campers.
She was so cool. And then actually that first year that I moved to Whistler and I was kind of feeling like lost and alone, she invited me to go and play hockey, like ice hockey, with her and her friends. I didn't know how to skate. I didn't know how to play hockey. That was so nice of her. I think I did that a couple times. But yeah, she's an amazing human.
Were there any other female coaches?
I have a really bad memory.
I feel like Priscilla was there, because I had a pretty big crush on Priscilla at the time, and I remember thinking I saw her up there with a DC sticker. I don't know. Maybe not.
It's possible.
Do you remember that I won Forum Youngbloods up there?
Did you?
Yeah, Peter Line was there on the last day and gave me his board.
Damn.
and Chris Duffy gave me his helmet. That was the highlight of my life.
I was going to say, is that your only first place title?
Yeah. Hey. Yes, it is. Do you have any first place? Did you do the contest world and did you win?
I did some like peanut butter rail jams, I think. I think I won a peanut butter rail jam at Snoqualmie, maybe?
There you go. I mean, do you think that you won? Somebody right now is listening to this and like, no, you didn't.
I feel like this was so long ago.
Yeah, it's like 15 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. I never did the contest thing too much. Did a few.
So who was your biggest influence growing up? Who was the
Leanne
what videos
Pelosi, 100%.
Wow, you just knew that right off the bat.
Leanne, and then as I got a little older, it was Desiree. But Leanne was doing those runway movies, and I used to go to the shop as soon as they came out, and I bought them, and I watched them religiously. I was a big fan. Actually, I remember when I came to camp, they do the coaches sale, and I bought one of Leanne's old, I think she rode for M6. I bought one of her old jackets, and it was like my prized possession. And one time I got really drunk at one of Andrew's house parties in Winnipeg, and I lost it, and I just cried to him. Anyways.
It was a Mission 6 jacket, and you were shedding some tears. I mean,
I was so upset. It was Leanne Pelosi's Mission 6 jacket, so it was very important.
I've been there, you know. I lost Chris Duffy's Capix helmet, and to this day, I'm still wondering, like, I wonder if I write some emails if I could find that. It's like,
it's devastating.
That thing is gone. It's devastating. So devastating.
Yeah. She was definitely my hero. I think I had posters of her on my wall. And then later, Desiree was for sure a huge influence. And then I ended up traveling with Desiree a lot, which was weird.
Which was weird, eh?
It's
kind of weird when you idolize somebody and then you end up like being on the same crew as them, trying to stack clips.
It's crazy. It's overwhelming. Or it was for me.
Even Justin Fronius on the last podcast he spent the last 10 years filming with Ika, kind of filming with DC, and he's like, I still like look at him and trip out. I'm like, damn, I'm filming with Ika, and I'm the same way. I don't know if it's like, because Fronius is from Minnesota. I was like, I don't know if there's something about like central borders, like, but like I like trip out when I'm with like certain people. I'm like, damn, like even Desiree for me, like, I mean, she's been in the game for a long time. Yeah. When I go to like Hood and I see Desiree, I'm like, damn. It's sick when people are like so involved in the community for so long that's like they're like a part of snowboarding. Like they're literally a piece. And now you're that person.
I don't know. I don't know about that, but that's a wild.
I mean, you would love to think that you're not, but you totally are. I think there was like a quick minute there where maybe I kind of remember it. You know, you had some injuries that were pretty tough to come over. And I feel like we jumped on the phone at one time and you're like, I think I'm just like going to do yoga and I'm like not going to board that much right now and like focus on other things. And I feel like I gave you some shitty advice because I was like, yeah, that's not a bad idea due to the brainwashing that I've had over the years, thinking of once you get over the age of 20, you can't be a pro snowboarder.
You're not the only person that gave me that advice. It was like, I don't know, my life was kind of in shambles for a little bit there, and I just was getting hurt constantly. I just had a series of like really shitty injuries, and then I remember I kind of made the decision to like step back and not really snowboard that much and focus on other things, and most of the people that I talked to about it were like, yeah, you should definitely like go that route. Like, snowboarding is not for you. Like, you tried, it didn't work, do something else. Like, that was the advice I got. And I'm glad I didn't follow it in the end, but I definitely took quite a few years. Like, I took a pretty long hiatus from snowboarding.
Let's talk about that for a second. So like what, like, I mean, maybe we should backtrack a little bit.
There was a lot of, I mean, I was really struggling like in my early 20s with like a bunch of stuff. So I was really struggling. And then eventually, I think I tore my ACL. I've torn my ACLs 4 times now, but this one that I am thinking of, I did it at High Cascade. And I remember I remember like being about to hit a jump and being like, okay, well, I don't really want to be here. This sucks. Like I was putting all this pressure on myself and I was like, I'm just either going to like do this ridiculous trick or I'm going to get hurt, and that's that, and which is a horrible headspace to put yourself in. And then sure enough, I blew my knee out. So I had to leave Oregon, go home to Winnipeg, get surgery, do the rehab. It took like a year, that whole process. But I was fired up to go back to, like I missed that whole winter, and I was fired up to go back to Oregon, go back to High Cascade and snowboard again. And then so that next summer I went back to High Cascade and I was doing the rat race, like, the rat race. Anyways, and I just overshot a little jump and I broke my fucking ankle. Like after a year of like really hard work rehabbing my knee, I snowboarded for like a week and I broke my ankle. And then after that I was like, okay, I can't keep doing this. So I decided to move to Vancouver. I remember that was like the final thing. I was like, I'm going to move to Vancouver. I moved into Jake's house in Vancouver. He had a room opening up and I went to yoga school. I was doing all these weird things, just trying to figure out what else I could do that would like bring me as much joy and passion as snowboarding did. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Oh yeah, no, that was beautiful. But yeah, but I think that you didn't find something that filled that void, because I mean, you only did that stuff for a very short time, and then the next season you were like, my friends gave me some shitty advice, and I'm getting back in the game, because I remember you being like, yeah, I'm done, like I'm doing other shit now, and then that winter you being like, back hiking down rails and shit at like Seymour, and I'm like, what? You're like trying back 270s again and stuff. Like you look healthy and you're back in it, and you're like, yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, I tried. I tried to move away from the snowboarding, and I love yoga, and I was doing a lot of other cool things in the city, but I was like so unhappy in Vancouver. Like I thought I was unhappy before. I was the most miserable in Vancouver. So I had to leave the city and come back to Whistler. And I think actually the thing that got me back into snowboarding was Dangy. Danielle, like when I was living in Whistler, called me one day and she was like, I'm gonna come to Whistler. And she asked me if I wanted to film in the park with her. And I said, I haven't filmed in several years and I don't really have anything that you're gonna want to film, but like come hang out. And then, yeah, that just kind of like restarted.
You guys made a park edit in the summer. I feel like I almost remember that up Blackcomb, right?
Yeah.
Like a Too Hard edit?
We made a spring edit, and then we made the COC edit in that summer, and then we made another one the following summer. So yeah.
And that had a lot of hype. When that shit was coming out, I mean, like, after Runway was kind of done, I felt like Peep Show was pretty sick too, actually. But there was a huge lull in female snowboarding, and there's been a lot of lulls. You know what I mean? Like something comes, and then no one wants to dump any money into a female project, and there's like a year with nothing. And then Too Hard kind of came out with like this, I don't know, Dope Industries meets, whatever, VG meets like whatever, with a bunch of girls that are just boarders, like people who are obsessed with snowboarding and that don't have big budgets but are fucking sick. And then you came on the map like right when that was coming out. And I remember being like, damn, Darrah, you attached yourself to something that's hype. Like it was a good look for you. It was a good look for all of you guys. I mean,
it was fun.
Same with Maria was in that, and Joanie was in that. Anthony Welgan's sister, Alexa, like she is in a few of those edits, and it's like a lot of those girls who didn't really have a lot of limelight kind of got some from that whole Too Hard thing. I thought it was pretty sick.
Yeah, Danielle, say what you will about her, she did a really great thing with Too Hard, and she is kind of brilliant and very talented. So that was fun. I just remember trying to keep up with Maria mainly. Like that's all I was trying to do when we were filming those, was just try to keep up with Maria. She's like a superhuman. And we worked our asses off. Like we just hiked every day and filmed, and it was so fun. So hard, but so fun.
And you guys filmed a lot of really, really, really good shit. And it's weird when you ride with somebody like Maria's like incredibly talented, and so are you in your own right. And it's just like the way I look at it is like, for example, I was like on DC and I'm with Jeeves. You know what I mean? Or I'm on West Beach and I'm with Belzile. Or I'm on whatever, Electric and I'm with Solers. There's always that person on the team who, for you maybe, you're filming 2 hard edits and Maria's like just stacking different clips that you. I feel like you almost get in your head being like trying to like keep up with that person. And if I could give myself any advice back in the day, it would have been like, don't do what they're doing. Just do you. You're never going to be like them. You're going to be you.
Totally. I didn't learn that lesson until very recently, but I have passed on that advice to other people now. Like, do not try to keep up with riders that aren't you. Just choose what you like to do and what feels good and do that. I know that now.
Yeah, that's a fucking amazing thing to know.
It's really hard to learn.
The best advice maybe we've ever given on the podcast, without a doubt.
There you go.
Stop trying to be anybody but you, and it's cool because there's a lot of people who aren't going to have what you have, you know what I mean? Maybe you have a really cool ollie or you have the back 180 switch 50 on the kink, but they don't. Mm-hmm. Kuzik was so incredible at switch front blunt 270s, but you tell him to do a front blunt 270, can't really do it. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like everybody has their ish.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that was terrible. Maybe Jake could probably do anything. Jake could do everything,
Jake
anything he
is
wants.
a robot, but yeah, you're never gonna be able to keep up with. I don't know. I'm never gonna be like the down bar girl, but I have other things that I'm good at that other people aren't good at. So those are what I focus on now. But it took so long to figure that out.
The front 5 that you filmed that one year off that like step down was sick, and I was like, why doesn't she do more of this? Like, that was dope.
Yeah, I want to do more of that. I think I need to do more of that. That was cool.
I've seen you throw out the switchback 5 occasionally on the the big jumps in Whistler, and it's like you've definitely done a few that are just like, damn. But I mean, having the opportunity to film backcountry as a girl is a whole other world, and it's difficult to have a crew to go out there and feel safe with and stuff, and that's
I haven't figured out how to enter that world yet, but I would like to. It's just not that accessible, but hopefully soon.
I mean, off all the royalties of your new pro model Dinosaurs Will Die board, you'll be set up to have heli budget just like frickin' Jamie Anderson.
Yeah, no problem.
You're going to be in the bird.
For sure.
What will you be coming out this year with? Like, what kind of footage? What videos are you a part of? What are you doing?
Well, everything got really fucked up. Can I swear on your podcast? Sorry.
Fucking right.
Okay. So obviously COVID happened and kind of ruined a lot of plans, but Jess is in the middle of, she is actually editing The Uninvited 2 right now. So that's what I was filming for this past winter. It just got cut short, and I decided to hang on to most of my footage. I'll have a few shots in The Uninvited 2, but I think, I just didn't really want to put out at this point in my life, I didn't really want to put out a part that I didn't think it wasn't really where I wanted it to be yet. Because I was on a good roll last winter, but I was still expecting to have 2 more months of filming. So, what you can expect is a couple shots coming out this year.
Sick. You know what? I had a similar season. I filmed a few clips, and it was tough. At the end of the year, it just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
And, I mean, is that what you're kind of saying there? Is that you were having the ball rolling this season and then COVID kind of cut it short?
Yeah, I'd gone on 2 trips. They were going well. I was kind of but I was being safe and trying to ease into the season and getting all the for sure shots out of the way. None of the
like a veteran.
Yeah, I've been doing this a while. I'm finally figuring it out. So I was expecting to have March and April and maybe May to really go for it, and that just got cut off. So
I heard Devin Walsh once say, there's no point of going for it in December. You're rusty and you're never going to use those clips anyway. And you always if the opportunity presents itself and your favorite feature ever is in front of you, for sure. But I feel like a lot of people in December and January kind of have that they're like, holy shit, the season, it's film season, they go for it. And there's nothing worse than getting injured at the beginning of the season before you're warmed up and before you've got your fix of snowboarding.
Yeah, you can't come out too hot.
No, you're right. I play the same kind of hand as you. I like to ease into the year, and then come, January, February, March, you have your board control back, and you just film better shit. For me, that's 100% how I work.
But who would have thought that a global pandemic would interfere with that strategy? Was not expecting that.
I know, right? Well, I'm a positive person. I'd like to think so anyway. And I think that that's going to fizzle out. And maybe this is going to be the weird year. And then the year after, I think it's going to be like, even if it is still around, everything will have been adjusted accordingly so we can have like a normal way of life and stuff, whatever that is.
Yeah.
This is going to be the weird year that, the first of its kind snowboarding. So what that looks like, I don't know.
I think it's going to be really good. We're just going to have to stay local, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, we picked a good spot.
Yeah, it's fine. I think it's going to be really sick. I'm excited. I'm hoping to just like pick up where I left off and finish what I started last year. That's the plan.
I mean, you got to. You have a pro model board on the shelf now. I mean, like, you can't put on the brakes now. This is, what pressure, What if you're about to be like, I'm hanging up the boots. It's a pandemic. It's a perfect time for me to be a yoga teacher. And then Jeff's like, here's your pro model dyno board. You're like, all right, I'm lacing up.
Yeah, pressure's on. No, Jeeves keeps being like, all right, you did it. You got the pro model. Now stick to yoga. Move on with your life. But I'm not going to do that.
That's the same advice. That's the same advice that we all gave you 10 years ago, and that was the worst advice we all could have given you. So I think just keep on doing what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm not quite done yet, so.
What would your perfect part look like? Like, what do you want it to look like? Do you want it to be mainly street with a few, backcountry shots? Do you want a full street part in, like a VG movie? Do you want to have like last part in an Uninvited? Like, what does a perfect season to you look like?
I think the perfect part would just be really well-rounded. Some rail shots, some jump shots, some powder, like just everything. But I just want to... I haven't yet been able to film a part that hasn't been like interfered by injury or some sort of crazy circumstance. So my perfect part would just be something that I get to finish. Yeah.
I've had like 3 or 4 full parts, but like they're lacking like a little bit of rails. They're like mainly backcountry, but like I feel like I've never filmed the perfect, like, well-rounded video part that I truly believe that I could film. So I'm, like, stuck in my head to being, like, I feel like I can never exit snowboarding until I achieve that goal.
No.
And I don't even know if it's possible, but, like, I'm going to keep trying for that goal.
Yeah, same. It's an obsession. We will not be able to stop filming until we accomplish that goal or, like, die trying or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, every year, like you said, we're getting better at playing our chips. This is our year. We're good. We have all the knowledge now that we need.
Yeah.
You have a pro model board. Maybe I have like a pro model, like, I don't know, sticker or something coming out. I don't know. It's nothing yet, but it would be sick. That's another thing, One day I would love to have a pro model something.
Could you wait like a couple years for the pro model board? Because I don't want you to interfere with my Winnipeg sales.
No. Their kids don't know who I am from Winnipeg anymore.
What? Yes, they do.
I hope so. I throw an event there every year. I hope those kids.
Yeah, you're a big deal in Winnipeg.
I'm giving what the kids deserve. They all deserve a little event because we never had one growing up.
No.
I mean, we had Youngbloods come one time. We had the Forum Youngbloods come. Didn't you do well in that? ? The Cashless crew came out, and it was like Mikey Scott and Trinidad, and I feel like a few other people, and Jeeves was crushing it. Tyler Beckel was crushing it, and I felt like you and Jill really had like an on day. I remember like...
We probably did, but there was probably only like 3 or 4 girls in it, so...
What was your crew like when you first moved to Whistler for females? Like, did you click with anybody like you know, when I throw back, I'm like, okay, Jeeves and Sandbox. I mean, you didn't really have a production company to just be like, oh, I want to film. I mean, the only one that was maybe achievable was like Runway, but that seems like, you know, that's like getting to Whistler and being like, I want to film for Kingpin or MacDog, or, you know, it's just like a little far-fetched, where there wasn't the local production company for you to be like, I want to film with that.
Yeah, I was just talking about this the other day with someone. It was kind of weird coming to Whistler and seeing like all of my friends have all these opportunities, and there were no opportunities for me. That was strange. Like, yeah, there was Runway, but that was not an attainable goal as a 17, 18-year-old, like, new to, I don't know. But we tried to make things happen. We would try to film, like, Callie and Taylor and Jill and I. We had boxes. We had a lot of boxes.
I thought all you guys were so sick. Like you, Callie, Taylor, Amanda, Kia.
Oh, yeah.
Kia was so sick.
Yeah.
Taylor, all of you guys. I mean, yeah, but it was weird because looking back, it was just like, it never clued into my head, like, I should try and make this like, how can I help these people the way that someone's helped me? Like, not once did I think like, oh, like, we're hitting a spot tonight with like Sandbox, we should bring Darrah or something, you know. That didn't even cross my mind, but looking back at those times,
we were so young. It didn't even cross my mind either. It wouldn't have, but it didn't occur to me that it was weird that I didn't have any opportunities either. Like, it occurs to me now, but at the time, yeah.
I saw P. Diddy the other day. I don't know why I follow P. Diddy, but I do. Well, maybe because it's Diddy. But, like, he posted this sick thing the other day, like, if you're ever in... Oh, no, sorry, it was 50 Cent. He's like, if you're ever in a room filled with opportunity, I hope that you mention my name. Basically meaning, like, if you have a homie and you're in a room where, like, maybe bringing up their name or you can help them. Like, there's been a lot of times where I'm, like, in a group of people and I'm like, this is like hanging out with Bobby Meeks and Ika and stuff like that. Like, why wouldn't I take a small little piece of my time and be like, yo, you guys should bring Demo on a trip or something like that.
Yeah.
Instead of just selfishly thinking the whole time of like, oh, this night's for me. Like, if you can plug one of your friends or one of your friends' companies or like something like that, like those plugs can honestly help people so much.
Yeah, you gotta support your friends and just your peers and everyone. I feel like Jess is like the best example of that. She's always lifting people up and doing stuff for other people.
Big fan of Jess since day one.
Yeah, same.
My first rail trip ever was with Jess Camira, Dwayne Weeb, and Kevin Griffin and Josh Voggs.
What?
And me and Jess Camira hit Glen Rosa together. And if you don't know what that, yeah, we hit that big down bar in wherever that is. Eddie Wall's opener tricks and promo copy. Brian McClatchy switchback lips that rail. I mean, Jeeves front 270 switch up, and then there I am like, well, this is probably 2 years prior. Jess board slid it, which was super sick, and I did a switch lip slide, and I tink and taco and get just destroyed. Were you struggling your first time ever going out to handrails, like, or was it just me?
Yeah, I struggled. Well, going back to like traveling with Desiree, like my first few like actual trips to film snowboarding were with Desiree, this person that I idolized and thought was so cool, and then all of a sudden I was on a snowboard rail trip with her and filmers and photographers, and it was all just like very stressful and overwhelming. And I think that first year I did not hit much. I didn't snowboard that much because I struggled.
You blew up on the scene hot, though. Like, there's that one summer, I think, that you filmed some stuff up at COC, and then it's like, I feel like the next winter it was like, this is probably when you were like 19 or maybe 20, and then you get on like Nitro, Bonfire, like, and there was a year there where Kuzik was blowing up, and I would say that your hype was the same as Jake's. Like, you guys were just both like American, and like you were hanging out down at like Mount Hood, and like you said, you're hanging out with Desiree, and I was like, whoa, she is like, whatever Darrah and Jake are doing is, you guys are crushing it.
Yeah.
Me and Griff and Jeeves are just sitting here greening out on the couch playing Grand Theft Auto. Just like
We were just going to America a lot. Putting ourselves out there.
I feel like there's a lot of negative and stigma around like going to the States and like meeting people, and people say it's like, broing down, but it's like, why wouldn't you take that opportunity? Because if you do well in that opportunity, you can come back and present that opportunity to your local community, and you just lift everybody up. It's a win-win.
It's just expanding your experience. It's not, I wouldn't ever look down on someone for doing that.
What was your favorite season you've ever had on a snowboard?
I'm gonna say that, well, I don't have a very good memory, but I'm gonna say that not this past winter, but the winter before that was one of my favorites. It was really fun. I was living in the camper, didn't really have any obligations, didn't have any rent to pay, so I could kind of do whatever I wanted. And
You were living in a camper. How did that all come to fruition?
it was something that I had wanted to do for a while. I hate paying rent. It's the worst. Been paying rent for a long time. So yeah, I was living in Winnipeg like 4 years ago because I had another knee injury. So I went home again. Dealt with that, and then while I was living in Winnipeg, I was like, I'm not gonna rent another room in Whistler, and I just bought a truck and I bought a camper and moved into that, and it was hell and it was horrible, but at the same time it was the best. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would never do it again, but it was a great experience. Maybe I would do it again.
I feel like I lived my whole life like that.
Yeah.
My whole life is just like, well, 1 minute I'm like, oh yeah, like this is what I'm about, and then like 6 months later I was like, I could never do that again.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. It was a lot harder than I expected it to be, but yeah. So that winter, I did it for 2 winters, but the 2 winters ago, while I was doing it, it was really cold in Whistler, I think, and I had money because I wasn't paying rent, so I got to travel, and I went to Utah a couple times, I went to Tahoe a couple times, and I just got to film a lot, but I wasn't really filming for anything in particular, so there was no stress, and I just kind of did whatever I wanted. It was so good. It was, I think, yeah, my favorite season. It was good.
Sick.
Yeah.
And what kind of car is this? Like, what kind of van did you have that you've structured for yourself? It's a slide-in, right?
Yeah, I had an F-250 with like a camper on the back that I couldn't afford to drive anywhere because it was so not fuel efficient. So it kind of just stayed parked in Whistler.
But you would drive to places.
No,
and
I would
like
fly.
You said,
I would fly to places and stay on couches.
Because you save so much. So
Yeah.
where would this camper be parked? In like a friend's parking driveway?
I had some spots.
Oh, you had some secret spots. You don't want to leak to anybody.
No, I can't reveal the secret spots. They were not that secretive, but
The day lots. Sleeping in the camper, the RV during the winter. Like, how would you stay warm? Like, were your groceries in there? Like, did you cook in there? You eat in there? Shower in there? Like, how did that all work?
I had a little wood stove, which heated it up really well. It was nice. Bed was comfy. I ate out a lot. There's one, like, vegan place in Whistler that got a lot of business from me while I was living in the camper because I didn't really have time or the organizational skills to cook in there. So yeah, I ate out a lot.
I think that you're the first vegan person I've ever met in my life. Why vegan, and when did you start?
I've been vegan for like 15 years, maybe even longer. I started being vegetarian when I was 7. So basically forever.
7. Did
yeah.
Are your parents vegan, vegetarian, or you just made this decision after watching like The Lion King and you're like, fuck eating meat?
My parents are not vegetarian. I watched the movie Babe, and it heavily influenced my life forever.
What's the movie Babe?
You know, the movie with the pig and like the spider?
Oh my God. Yes, I do. I do remember that movie.
Yeah, I don't know. It really left an impression on my 7-year-old mind. I was a weird kid, pretty sensitive. I still am weird and sensitive, but yeah, I've been having eaten an animal or an animal product ever since.
No, never. Like, not even like you don't go out and just be like, because I feel like I have lots of friends that are, give me some of those wings. You're like,
No,
motherfucker.
no.
So you're a vegetarian, vegan in front of people, but when you get drunk, all of those morals go out the window. It's like, I'm married until I get drunk.
No, I can't. I'm pretty on it or I do my best. I don't know. One time Kevin Griffin tricked me into eating a mouthful of not vegan chili. But other than that,
that's fucked up.
I know,
that's
so
kind of harsh.
fucked up. I know. I'll never forget like the look on his face because I was like, "Are you sure? Like it's vegetarian chili, like vegan chili?" And he was like, "Yeah, vegan chili." And I was like, "Really? I'm so hungry. Like it's vegan chili." And he's like, "Yeah, it's vegan chili. Like look, there's beans in it." And then I took a bite, and the look on his face was just like, "Oh no, what have I done?" And I think I spit it out, but yeah.
Oh no, Griff. Griff's only plug in the Darrah podcast is force feeding you something that you highly do not want to be eating.
Yeah, he did that, but
now that you've been doing it for so long, do you feel like you continue to do this mainly because of animal cruelty and stuff, or because you're just not interested in like the health benefits? Like, what keeps you on this path?
I just don't believe in hurting animals or people or anything. I just don't believe in, ahimsa. It means to not harm.
What was that word?
That was the yoga term, but yeah, I just don't believe in hurting animals.
What was the yoga term?
Ahimsa.
Ahimsa. No,
Yeah.
I like that. I like learning.
Yeah.
So not only in yoga do you learn about stretching, you learn terms on food and stuff.
Well, ahimsa is it's not a food term. It's more just like an idea of like not harming anything, not harming animals, yourself. Like,
oh, okay, so it's not specific to like animals and vegetarian
No.
veganism. Okay.
It's not harming the earth, not harming, like, just, yeah.
Well, that's an interesting chapter for you too. Yoga. You do it heavily. I mean, you're a huge advocate of it, which everyone's down with stretching, but what's the difference?
Okay, first of all,
I've yet
yoga
to come
is
to one
not
of your
just stretching.
Well, that's
Let's
how
start
I think
there.
of it.
It's much more than stretching.
All right, break down yoga. What is yoga?
Oh, it's so much. It's meditation and it's movement and it's breath and it's so powerful for the body and the mind. Yeah. It's good for, like, if we're talking physically, like, it is good for stretching, but it's also good for strengthening and for balance, and it's so good for mental clarity and focus, and the breath work, like, is insanely beneficial for so many reasons. That's something that I've been getting into recently. But yeah, it's yoga. Everyone should do yoga. It's the best.
When COVID really hit there, I was following my favorite yoga teacher, Yoga with Adrian. Do you know who that is?
I've heard of her. I haven't done her yoga, but a lot of my friends do.
It's so chillin', and it's like, it's just the best. She's adorable. She's just a good person. She just seems like she's exactly the person I want to instruct me how to do yoga. Not taking it too serious, but at the same time is there to like kind of guide you. And I feel like whenever I would give myself a 45-minute, yoga practice, it was like insane what you were saying there, the mental clarity and how good I would feel after I would do that.
Yeah, it's powerful. I don't think I would have gotten through like the initial coronavirus when we were all like panicking and quarantining and everything was crazy and scary, and I don't think I would have gotten through that time without yoga. Like, no way.
More specifically, like you said, you're getting more into the breathing and the meditation side. I feel like that's what's really intriguing to me, that I feel like once you stretch and you're strengthening in those poses, if you learn how to like use the breath and like breathe properly, you can put yourself in such a good state afterwards. And there's a lot of time, I feel like, just with more specifically just like the stresses of today mixed with sometimes my poor diet, just due to the fact that I have to do stuff, you know, quickly, and I eat some fast food or whatever, which I try not to. And yes, there's lots of ways to not do that. I feel like it just helps so much with just like the fogginess that kind of lures in my head. You know what I mean? It's just like as soon as I give myself the time to do a 45-minute yoga session, I've done a few 25 minutes, it's just not enough for me. If I go over the half an hour, I'm good. You know, I get a little like I got a little burn going on. I'm breathing, and it's like I'm done that, and I feel like I cracked a shell off of me that was just shitty, and now I feel way better.
Yeah, and it helps with like the mind chatter, you know, like all the bullshit that goes on in your brain. It helps you kind of like really sift through that and get a handle on it, I think.
So why yoga? Why did you get introduced to it? I mean, like you said, snowboarding was, you were going through a bad patch in snowboarding, as we all do. Anyone who's, you know, tried to do this for a long period of time, there's peaks and valleys for sure. What led you to yoga?
I can't remember exactly how I started doing it, but I just remember when I was accepting that it was time for me, although I know that it was not actually time now, but then I was accepting that it was time for me to move on from snowboarding. I was just kind of trying to think about what else I enjoyed doing, and it was yoga. I was fascinated by yoga. So
have you ever studied it? Like you said, you did some teaching classes, but like, where did yoga come from?
I think a lot of it started in India, but yeah.
But you don't know. You don't know the roots of your favorite thing. You gotta dig deep.
That's all I know. And they were doing weird shit back then that worked magic, and we still do it now, and I think it still works magic. Yeah.
Combined with your diet, I mean, do you feel better?
My diet, I don't want anyone to be misled here. My diet's not great. Being vegan is not always great.
Okay.
I go through phases of being very healthy vegan, and like, I mean, apparently Oreos are vegan. Like, you can really do vegan in an unhealthy way if you want to. I try my best to take care of myself nutritionally, but
well, what do you mean? Oreos are good for you. They have cacao in it, which is chocolate, and then they have milk in the middle, and milk's good for strong bones.
It's not milk, it's just oil. That's why they're apparently vegan. I don't know. I don't eat Oreos, but yeah, what was the question? Do I feel energetic?
Like, I don't know. Do you feel better? Like, should I get persuaded into doing the vegan diet? Because, I mean, if I don't have a vegan friend who's telling me I feel better than you, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, which is like 50-50.
I think you should do whatever makes you feel good. I can't tell you what to do. I can only do what I know is good for me. I do me.
Yeah, me too. But I should, and I could get better at like just not doing the fast food when you're doing a long drive, it's so hard to not just be like, I'm pulling over, I'm getting some A&W, and I don't give a shit, and I'm going to keep going.
I know.
Like, what do you do when you're going on like a 9-hour drive the night before? You prepare and you bring a bunch of snacks on the drive and pre-make stuff?
I pack snacks for sure. I'm a little high maintenance on trips. I will say that.
I've heard.
Yeah, I'm sure Derek has mentioned that. We've gone on a few trips together. Friendship almost ended, but
everybody's like, yeah, we're just going to go to McD's, and you're like, I need to go to the grocery store.
That's it. That's exactly it. So I always feel a little high maintenance, but at the same time, like, ugh, fast food is disgusting, I think. So
It is disgusting. It just tastes delicious.
Yeah, I don't know. I eat
They
a lot
nailed
of
the
hummus
taste.
and carrots.
There you go.
It's my go-to travel snack.
I feel like the first person I was traveling with that was kind of nailing the diet thing, or from my perspective, was Ashley Barker. We'd be traveling and she'd have like nuts and dried fruit and hummus, and and she would never like occasionally she would like have some pizza and stuff, but she was the first person that would be like not doing whatever when you go on a trip with snowboarders, I swear to God, your diet is Tim Hortons, then you go to Tim Hortons again, and it's the end of the night, and then you go to like maybe a dope place, like a Chinese place or a Thai place or a pho place or whatever. But for the most part, we're going to Tim Hortons every day, and I hate Tim Hortons, and I need to work on my diet. Anyways.
Yeah, you got to work on that. We can chat about it later if you want some advice.
I know,
Who am
I will.
to give advice? I don't know.
Yeah, no, not all. Pro model board comes out. What's the specs on it? Did you get any say in it? Is it regular camber, reverse camber?
I didn't have any say in this one because I didn't know that it was happening. I believe it's flat camber, and it's just going to be a 149 for this winter coming up. And then we're working on another one for the next winter, and that one there will be more sizes, and I'm going to be more involved with the specs.
And what's your perfect board? Do you feel like there should even be a female line and a male line in a snowboard company, or do you think
no, there's not going to be. My board is not a girl's board, and I think that's so sick because I've never ridden a female specific board. So, and I think you should just ride a board that's appropriate for your size and for what you want to ride. It doesn't matter what gender you are.
Yeah, I feel like snowboard. Like I get that, like bathing suit lines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Male, female, makes sense. Snowboard lines, it's like you could just make boards male, female, and just not tell anybody. And then people who are just like, I like flowers and ponies, whether guy or girl, just gets that board instead of being like it's deemed as one. You know what I mean? I don't feel like there's a point in doing that.
I just think there's boards for, sizes and preferred terrain, not for gender. It doesn't matter. And
Yeah,
then
I mean,
I guess certain graphics maybe appeal more to, I don't know. My graphic, I don't think will be super feminine, whatever that means these days.
What is it again? Is like your face over like the dead Kennedys or something? I don't know. It looked like a skull or something.
I think it's, I don't know. You'll have to.
I've seen it. I saw you guys all hike up Mount Seymour, and then Jeff and Sean and Jake and every single snowboard. I was supposed to come when they gave you that board, but I was working.
You weren't there. You've been working too hard.
Oh, yeah. I know. But I got to work hard because, I got to get this podcast off the ground, so I appreciate that you came on this and stuff. Quick question for you, though.
Okay.
Who are you riding for other than Dyno these days? Because you're like blowing up right now.
Am I?
You got a bunch. You got like it's like the re-up. It's
Don't
like
put any
you
pressure on me. That's when I crumble.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, me too.
I ride
no
for
pressure.
686. They are helping me out a lot, and Union, and Salmon Arms, and the Circle.
The Circle through John Martin.
Through John Martin, he's the best.
Are you getting paid through the Circle? You getting some free decks or something?
No, none of that.
Well, you getting shop decks?
I get a store discount, team discount.
There you go. Team discount at the Circle.
Yeah.
Check them out. Whistler Shop. Anthony Vitale, who was just on the podcast, made the logo.
Sick.
Pretty crazy. Eh? He hung up that wood sign. That's awesome, though. That's a slew of sponsors. We were talking about on the last episode how having accessory sponsors is dope. And there's a lot of people who just, have a slew of sponsors, but they just don't collaborate with the right people. Like Salmon Arms, it's a hype company. You know what I mean? You got some good picks in there. When's Nick Haringa? When's the pro model Darrah glove coming out?
Yeah, Nick. Yeah.
So what do you want to see in female snowboarding more? What needs to change? Do you like what female snowboarding is looking like? Do you feel like everyone's going to make a big pull because of, the times we're in right now and how everybody's all, trying to change and be a better brand? Or do you feel like it's just going to be amount to nothing and it's just like female snowboarding is just always getting the short end of the stick?
I think I'm starting to see cool changes. like within the industry, I'm starting to see cool changes within, like with the riders. Like I think female snowboarding is crazy right now. Like there's so much talent and like drive. It's wild. It's really sick to see. But within the industry, I think there could be a little more still, more involvement for sure.
Who's some of the sick ones on the scene right now that you like?
I'm blanking on her name right now.
What's her Instagram?
She's from like Europe.
Pull her up.
Ilfa.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yep, I follow.
Oh, brutal. Yeah, she's been doing some crazy things, and wow, why am I blanking on everyone's names right now? No, Sophie and Georgia, the twins, like they've been
Sick.
posting like park footage in Australia, and it's crazy. All the contest girls, I don't even know what the fuck they're doing anymore. Like that world is wild. The filming, Madison actually like has been really impressing me the last couple of years. She's so talented and determined. And then obviously Desiree still, and there's a lot of girls. Naima
There's
is
a lot of
doing
girls
a lot
that are
of
crushing
weird
it.
things. Really weird things. Oh, Savannah is like 18 years old, and she's killing it. And
Who's that one girl who front boarded that insane kink at Mrs. Super Park like 1 year ago?
Yeah.
Like that super high
That was
one.
a switch front board, and that was
okay.
Alexis Rowland.
She's crazy.
Yeah, and she's also like 18. Like there's there's a lot happening in women's snowboarding right now amongst the riders.
And they have a place with Jess, the uninvited too. Do a lot of those people film for that project?
They needed Jess to create a place for them because nobody else would. So Jess had to step up, and yeah, it's exciting.
So Jess is single-handedly saving female snowboarding.
I kind of think so. Like it's like kind of tragic that she has to, but also amazing. Hopefully she won't have to take that.
I don't
on
feel like she
forever.
has to though. Like she
No,
just
she doesn't
wants
have.
to.
She
you know what I
wants
mean?
to. Yeah, but like, it'd be nice if she had some help too.
That's a pretty badass role for her to take on. I mean, you being a little bit more of the OG now, it's like, you know, there's lots of other girls who are younger who probably look up to you, and I mean, present them with that opportunity to get their foot in the door. I mean, I'm excited to see that project. That one you said drops this fall, or is that a 2-year?
This fall, yeah. I was pushing
fall.
for the 2-year, but there was too much good footage from the other girls.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is, and if they don't drop anything, then their brands are like, "Where's your footy?"
Yeah. So.
And it's like it's a pretty it's a tough time right now with brands and contracts and stuff like that. And I mean, I couldn't imagine being somebody right now who has like whoever is the female rider of the year, female rookie of the year. Like, what a tough time to get that award right now, because I don't feel like brands are going to be dishing out contracts left, right, and center that are like sick.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully a lot of people are buying snowboards, especially the Darrah.
Next year, I mean, Walker at 204, our friend in Winnipeg who owns a skate shop, he was saying that they sold more boards this year to females and little kids like than ever.
Cool.
Like they've sold more decks than ever, and I'm like, well, hopefully that translates straight into snowboard sales, and then brands realize that it doesn't matter if there's a pandemic, people still want a board.
I think, like, I know that mountain bike sales were insane this summer because nobody had anything else to do. Nobody could travel or spend their money on that, so everyone was buying mountain bikes, and I hope that that's going to be the same for snowboards going into winter. That's what I'm hoping.
I heard some crazy thing that eBay or something like that was sold out of puzzles for like 8 months. It's like if you wanted to buy, because everyone was just sitting inside during quarantine. Everyone's like, oh, I guess I'll start doing puzzles.
Yeah.
And they just sold out. They're like 8 months back order on puzzles.
Wow, that's one activity that I would not be desperate to do.
No, not at all.
But cool, good for the puzzle industry.
All right, so there's been rumors that you're going to get your motorcycle's license? Do you feel like you're just going full Burley styles everywhere, mountain biking, now motorcycle license?
I feel like it's just been the summer of like checking things off of my list of things that I've wanted to do but have always put off because snowboarding has taken precedence. So mountain biking was one of those things, and then getting my motorcycle license. I've had like I got my beginner's license like 5 years ago, and then every summer I've done like the cones test, and then you can kind of use your motorcycle without getting your full license. But this is the year, next week, full license.
Do you own a bike?
Yeah, I bought Jess's old bike. But
What is it?
It's just it's a little Yamaha DT200. It's an enduro, so hopefully I'll start dirt biking. I just want to be like E-Man. I'll
Sick
never be
plug.
like E-Man.
No.
But one can dream.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck,
right?
he's
No one
cool.
can fuck, he's a sick dirt biker.
Oh, it looks so sick, but crazy. But anyways.
Those girls, who else has a dirt bike in that crew? Because I feel like, did Jess buy a new one? Because I've seen Jess out there dirt biking.
Yeah, Jess has a couple dirt bikes right now. And I've gone a few times. It's fun. I think it's less scary than mountain biking somehow.
Way less scary. Unless you're doing what E-Man does and
Yeah.
trying to like just dirt bike up a mountain.
I definitely haven't been doing that, but like I feel a little more comfortable on the dirt bike, like kind of like I can trust that it will do its thing as long as I guide it, where with the mountain bike I really have to be on it.
Yeah, because if those handlebars turn, it's freaking...
Game over.
I'm so scared of dirt biking and stuff like that. I don't know. When I was a kid, I got in a really bad accident. The first day I ever was on one. And I got T-boned when I hit a jump. This other kid hit another jump. And for whatever reason, they had it like a perfect X. And we met in the air and like exploded the bikes and like died. Neither of us broke anything as a miracle. His tire hit my front end. And I was just like, I'm so scared of this. I just like... But shit, like when you start going down the highway and stuff, whoo, those things, a little bit of water or something like that, like you got to be. But on the whole topic of E-Man and biking, did you hear about the E-Man story about his tire popping on his bike?
I did.
When he was on the highway?
That's really scary.
Yeah, like he was going 110 kilometers an hour and his front or his rear tire pops. And and then his bike just starts turning. He thought he had it, and then it was just like, nope, don't have it, can't make this turn, and just jumps off the bike and slides out and only has like a small little cut from it.
Yeah, I think
But he thought he was gonna die. I was like,
yeah,
oh my god, that sounds so scary to me.
terrifying. Maybe
Every
had
time you
someone
bring
looking
up
out
what
for
you're
him.
gonna do next, I just go into like, well, here's the horrific stuff that could happen.
Yeah, stop it. I'm like very cautious with that sounds weird coming from me, but in my age, I've learned to be pretty cautious. Not so much on a snowboard because I've just been doing that for a long time, but with new things, I'm really careful.
Well, yeah, because the more you snowboard, the better you get at bailing. You know what I mean? You can get out of situations a lot easier because you've been doing it so long. You're like, I'm upside down on this weird cork 5. Like, I can get out of it by doing this. But, you know, if you get weird speed wobbles on your mountain bike and you don't know how to deal with that, it's like, you know, and then you grab the front brake instead of the back brake.
Oh, God. I have no idea how to bail on a mountain bike yet. I'm trying to learn how to skateboard too, a little late in the game, but I have no idea how to bail on a skateboard.
Yeah, I've just restarted skating too. Man, does it suck to suck.
It's so hard. It sucks to suck. Like skateboarding is so hard and it looks so fun. Like I've been watching Beal's edits this summer from the Whistler skate park and I'm just like, that looks like such a good time. I would love to be a part of that, but it's so hard.
What kind of street would you want to be, a street skater or do you want to be tranny skater?
No,
I feel like every girl picks tranny.
Well, I don't mean to be so basic, but I just like pumping around.
No, that's exactly where I'm at. I mean, growing up, only street skater, could not skate transition at all. And then just because of, where I grew up and stuff. And then coming to Whistler, worst skate park ever for someone who only skates street. Stop skating. Now that I'm in Vic, I'm just using skating to go to like the corner store and stuff, which has been a total blast. It's like there's a bunch of hills here. I've never lived in a city before. It's so awesome.
It's good that you're thinking that's awesome. I remember really hating that when I lived in Vancouver.
Don't put that in my head.
But I think people in Victoria are probably friendlier than people in Vancouver. You'll be all right.
Yeah, it's really dope here. I mean, I've never lived on the island before, and it's really chill. Lots of younger people, like 20 to kind of 40, and it definitely seems like pretty, how do you put it, like tech nerdy meets like low-key hipster, but like not full hipster, you know what I mean, where it's like annoying. It's like, whoa, that person looks super steezy, but like it's like kind of dope.
Cool.
Like Vancouver is a little too much for me, you know what I mean? Sometimes when I go to Vancouver, I'm like, I don't want to ever have to put that much effort into what I wear.
Yeah, it's a little much. That's what I love about Whistler. You really don't have to try too hard here.
Injuries. We talked on this briefly, but I mean, you've had your fair share. What is Darrah's remedy to keep going through these difficult times when you kind of want to give up on life? Because there's probably lots of people who are listening right now who've been through their fair share of injuries, and let's be honest here, it is the worst being injured.
Yeah, it is the worst.
What's step one?
Step one, don't get injured. Actually, that is kind of step one, is like maintenance. Like take care of your body in between injuries when you're healthy to avoid injury. I don't know what kept me going through. I've had a lot of injuries. I've had 4 knee surgeries and like a bunch of wrist and arm stuff. I guess just like, fuck. Sorry, Jody.
I like what you said there though about maintenance. Like maintenance, so avoiding the injury in the first place, building strength, doing yoga, eating right, huge. You know, and then like another thing that we touched base on was, you being a veteran now and knowing to take the beginning of the season easy and just like if you're not feeling something, slow the fuck down and like check yourself and know when to send it.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about it too, like choosing your features. Don't hit a feature just because you feel like you have to or because someone else is or because like it's never like you gotta hit a feature because you want it. You really want to hit the feature. You really think you can. I don't know. You gotta. I mean, when I'm talking about filming, but like if you're gonna hit something, you have to feel inspired to hit it and not just be hitting it because it's there. You're desperate for a shot. I think that's really important.
I hate rolling into a feature and not being able to blank out and visualize the trick. Like you said at the very beginning when you originally blew your knee when you were at Hood, that you were rolling into the feature being like, don't blow your knee, don't get hurt on this jump.
Yeah.
Like, don't fuck up. And you're rolling into a big jump in summer slash ice conditions and telling yourself not to fuck up. It's like, you need to be going off that takeoff like,
confident.
I'm going to switch bike 5, the fuck out of this thing, and then we're going to go for some, pina coladas.
Yeah, never talk to yourself the way that I used to talk to myself. It's no good. Like, the negative self-talk doesn't do any good for you. I guess, like, every time I've gotten hurt, it's been, like, the most devastating... In that moment, it's been, like, the most devastating thing that could ever happen to me, like... And then it ends up being kind of a good thing. You learn something important from... Or I have learned something important from every injury. And I feel like I wouldn't be where I am now without all of them. Like, I needed them to happen to set me up for being in this place now, which I'm pretty happy where I am now for the most part.
I think anybody who's ever been through anything in their life, eventually not at the beginning when it first happens, because it's going to change the immediate, reward that was supposed to happen, like, getting the clip and everybody cheering for you. But instead, you're like fucking hospital ride down to wherever. But a few years later, even if something devastating happens to you, I feel like eventually you just go like, oh, I wouldn't be where I am now, and I wouldn't know the people I know now without that happening. And most people are pretty hyped, on like the outcome of getting that stupid injury in the first place. Because like, look where you are now. You never thought you would have a pro model dyno board. You know what I mean? Think about like you growing up in Winnipeg as a girl watching Leanne snowboard, and now you're sitting here being the new version of like a Leanne in whatever, light you want to put that in, with a pro model coming out. And really what you're about is fucking never giving up.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good underlying message. For like when don't give up.
I think you're one of the hardest working females in snowboarding, and you're somebody who's been chasing your dream for a long time, and that is becoming a reality right now. And I think that you should be super proud of yourself, because you fucking deserve this board more than like anyone I can think with a name on it. Like, it's so fucking sick.
Thanks, Jody. I had a lot of people tell me that when I first got it, and it was really nice to hear, because there's just always been a lot of self-doubt that I've dealt with over the years. So it's kind of really cool to hear people say stuff like that. And yeah, I have faced a lot of challenges. It's really sick to I feel like, yeah, it's cool to be here.
Yeah. I mean, I called it on a podcast, I think 3 or 4 episodes ago. I like literally say, I'm like, congrats, Darrah, on the pro model. And I was like, she's going to film her best shit ever in the next few years.
Yeah. I hope so. I feel like I'm set up to, yeah, and it hasn't been easy getting to this point of feeling like I'm set up to, but I do feel pretty good. I've definitely spent some time, like, had some dark days,
How do you get over those dark days? I mean, I have my way of getting out of them, but like, what's your keys to getting out of those? I mean, the 4 blown knees. I mean, like, there's people listening to this podcast right now that blew their knee once, or just had a mellow injury and have given up on their dreams. I mean, you've done it 4 times, and you're still out here going for what you love.
Yeah, I can't really explain that. I think, like, my family thinks I'm insane, but there's just, like, something inside of me that won't really let me stop or give up, I guess. I don't know how I come out of how I came out of the dark days. I mean, yeah, I've done a lot of hard work to, like, time and lessons and trial and error and hard work, and yeah, just time.
That was better than you coming up with some like schemy bullshit, like eat broccoli and have, meditate or whatever you have to do to get over the negative thing. Is like, no, what you need is time.
You need time, and you need to know that, like, they do end eventually. Like, it gets better. I'm actually just writing an article right now for King Snow about my, like, strategies for mental well-being and just feeling good, basically. And I'm having the hardest time writing it because I'm like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, what works for me will not work for everyone, and what I've experienced is not the same as what anyone else has experienced. So I don't know, I've like figured some things out along the way, but it's hard for me to talk about because I don't want to sound like I think I know what I'm talking about. I don't.
I don't think, but nobody really knows what they're talking about anything. The more you know, the less you actually know.
Yeah.
Is a pretty famous quote, and it's true. Like, the more we've gotten better at snowboarding, the more you're like, whoa, this infinite possibility, I don't know anything about it. And the more you do, music, and you start playing the guitar, the more you're like, I don't know how to play this at all. Like, and if you're trying to open up the door of understanding how to overcome injury and depression and stuff like that, like, that is a never-ending
It's never
door.
Ending. But
it's a
actually, the
door.
biggest lesson that the injuries have taught me is that the worst thing that happens, there ends up being a silver lining. Like, look at even COVID right now. Like, that is the worst thing that I've ever seen happen. And I know, like, I don't know. There's just always silver lining, and it always gets better. And then it gets worse again, and then better, and, peaks and valleys.
I mean, everyone goes through negatives and positives their entire life. And I just don't think, like you said, there's no one remedy.
Yeah, I'm working on it. It's a hard thing to put out there. But what you just said about, like, the negative and positive experience, something I've learned about that too is it's all just perception too. Like, nothing's actually negative or positive. It's just how you look at it and how you handle it. And life's okay.
Life is totally fine. And I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's existence on this earth in this little, time is pretty much it doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? In the grand scheme of thing, 1,000 years from now, you think anyone's going to care that you showed up to the skate park and you were too scared to drop in the quarter pipe because you were embarrassed about the 3 people who looked over kind of cool in the corner, or like you were too scared to, like, I don't know, make a movie, or too scared to do the method because other people looked intimidating at the top of the park. It's like nothing fucking matters at all.
Yeah.
At all. Just do anything that can possibly make you happy while you exist on Earth, and then, except for being a piece of shit, and then, there you go.
Yeah. Nothing
Then
matters.
your weird little existence was awesome.
It's nice getting older and, like, coming to that understanding that, like, nothing matters. Like, no one cares as much as you do. Like being nervous about stuff or feeling embarrassed or whatever, like, it doesn't matter.
I remember going to a quarter pipe session in the States, and it was all the American scene. And as much as, like, just like everybody else, you get there and it's like 100 people. It's like going to the ECS Invitational, but being American and not knowing anybody there. It was just like, I felt so, like, out of place, and I was like, well, I'm not going to snowboard because I don't know anybody here. But then I also was like, dude, why does that matter? Like, who cares? Like, I'm not good at quarter pipes. I'm still going to snowboard on this thing because I like snowboarding. And I had a really good time. I didn't do anything that was stand out. I was just doing my classic lip tricks and stuff like that. And I had a great time. But in that same position, if you had put me there 5 years earlier, I would have sat and not done anything.
Same.
You know what I mean? I would have been like, I'm too intimidated. There's too many American pros here and too many pros I don't know. And not even American pros. It was just like a really sceney event. Mm-hmm. And then I had a few beers and hung out with everybody. And I was like, fuck, everyone here is in their head just as much as me. They're thinking the same fucking thing.
Yeah, and they're not going to remember anything that you did or didn't do, like, a few days later. It doesn't matter.
No, nobody cares, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's somebody going to, unless, I don't know, one of the dudes from, that event starts calling you out for doing a whack trick on the mic, which could happen. That's my biggest fear, is being at an event where I don't know anybody, and then someone on a mic being like, and fuck that dude over there in the green jet, and you're like, oh, fuck, dude, like, I haven't snowboarded in a month, and, I don't know.
Bullying, and that's not going to happen. I've experienced it firsthand, so I guess it could happen.
Me too.
People at Seymour are ruthless on the microphone.
Yeah, they're ruthless, but at the same time, I think most of them mean it in good fun.
Yeah, definitely. Plus, there's, like, some sort of, like, weird power that comes over you when you get your hands on a microphone. Are you experiencing that right now?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I feel so powerful right now. How do you feel? Do you also feel the power?
No. I'm like, I think I've been blushing this entire time we've been talking.
Fucking right. All right, there's a little end piece to the show here. It's a new section. It's called 4.
4.
And number 1 is, what's your favorite movie?
Like, do you want my favorite snowboard movie or my favorite movie of all time?
Hell no. We want your favorite movie of all time. Snowboarding comes second.
I don't watch a lot of movies. Like, I try not to watch a lot of movies or TV. It's an intention I set for myself. I don't really have a favorite movie. Pass. My favorite snowboard movie, I'm going to say, is Love Hate because of you guys. And growing up watching it a million times.
That was the second question, is your favorite snowboard movie. So you don't have a favorite movie because you're fucking crazy. All right. Love Hate. This takes the cake for number 1 and 2. All right. 3. One piece of life advice.
Nothing is permanent. That's not really advice, but it's a statement. But yeah.
No, that's amazing. That's a statement. That's an amazing statement. I love that.
Yeah.
Nothing is permanent. My grandfather used to say the same thing.
Wise
But
man.
it wasn't nothing's permanent. He said nothing's forever.
Yeah.
And that terrifies me. I mean, like, I look around sometimes and I'm so grateful for what I have at that moment.
Yeah.
You know, like a small paycheck in the bank, or like, you know, and then it disappears. I'm like, oh, fuck, that's gone.
That's good, though, knowing that you enjoy it. Knowing that it won't last forever, then you'll enjoy it more.
But wouldn't it be cool if you had a paycheck that was forever in your bank account?
That'd
That'd
be
be
really
sick.
cool.
Yeah, so if anybody's rich and wants to hit me and Darrah up with a bunch of money, let us know.
Yep, could use a few extra dollars.
Number 4, one random fact about yourself.
I had a cat named Bowser when I was a kid.
All right, it was your favorite video game at Mario?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Sick.
I really liked playing Mario.
Okay, so I should have subbed in for movie then, video game, and your favorite video game would have been Mario.
Yeah, I liked Crash Bandicoot too.
That's it.
Really
That's a good
aging
game.
myself. I must
Crash-
have a favorite movie. Come on, what's my favorite movie? I don't know.
Yeah, you must. Yeah, I don't know what to say if you don't have a favorite movie. Like, that's a pretty easy folder to open up in your head and be like, that's my favorite one. But the fact,
Like, all I can think of that I don't want to admit is my 2 favorite movies in high school, which were Clueless and Legally Blonde.
both incredible.
Yeah.
Clueless is amazing.
Yeah, I know. God, I wanted to.
Way
be
better
her.
than Legally Blonde, but Clueless was sick.
Yeah.
I remember watching that TV show too.
Yep, that was a good show.
That was a good show.
All right, I'll stick with that answer then.
All right, word. Well, thanks for coming on the show. We got any plans, any shout outs? What's your life like these days? Give us some fucking final words.
I gotta work as much as possible until snowboarding starts. But shout out to you and Derek and Jeeves and Jake and Dinosaurs Will Die and 686 and Jess. I don't know. And my family. I love everyone. Shout out to everyone.
Sick. That's the best thing I've ever heard.
But
Shout outs to you
I want to keep going, but I'm going to leave it at that.
No way, keep going. Just mumble on for a little bit longer here.
There's too many people that have been nice to me.
Well, I mean, that's because you're a nice person.
Yeah,
What goes around comes around.
that's what they say.
All right, well, word. Thank you so much for coming on the show. You're incredible. And I can't wait to see you again and go snowboarding.
Thanks, Jody. Come back to Whistler. It's really unsettling for me that you don't live here anymore. Like, even though I didn't see you that often, it was just, like, something that made me feel comfortable was knowing that you lived here. Like, the last original Winnipeg person. Now you're gone.
Well, does Jill still live there?
Yes, but she came after you,
It's true. Much after.
and she's never here.
She was always on the island. She's a surf person now.
Yeah, she's a surfer. Surfer babe.
Yep.
Surfer skater babe.
Everybody's surfing and skating, snowboarding, and mountain biking these days. I wish I could find the time, but some of us have to work. Oh, my God.
Somebody's got a podcast. If anyone needs sushi, you know where I'll be.
Darrah slanging sushi at Samurai Sushi, the one place in town that never hands out a deal ever. Been going there for 15 years. I've never got a free miso soup. No, you
I
don't.
give you free misos. Come on. Don't tell. edit that out. Don't tell my boss.
That's why I know, because they don't ever hook anything up. Because they don't need to, because it's great price sushi and it's good, and I'll keep going back.
Well, and it's like only locals that go there, so we would have to hook everyone up. It just wouldn't, as a business model, it just wouldn't work. But in my heart, I would love to hook everyone
You guys
up.
have repeat customers anyway. You don't have to give anything out, but it'd be tight if you did. All right. Thanks for coming on the show. You're the best.
Thanks, Jody. You're the best.
The Airtime Podcast is presented by Van Shoes since 1966. 66!
There's nothing fake about it. Have something to believe in and be yourself. You know what I'm saying?